Hanh, you've been busy at work building a brand new platform for no-code development of ChatGPT apps and MCP apps, and so I'm super excited to see what you've put together. Thanks so much for joining us today.
Thank you so much for having me. I am so grateful to be part of this community. So quick intro, I'm Hanh. We're building Fractal. Fractal is the easiest way to build and host ChatGPT apps. So I want to do a little bit of intro about us. So my co-founder, Max, he studied computer science at MIT, used to lead AI infrastructure for Hive AI. And he was part of the founding team for Random Labs, a YC company that focus on AI coding agents. And I'm Hanh. I used to work for Microsoft, one of the early engineers for Random Runway. I've been in AI for the last 10 years, so way before it was cool. And we were among one of the first to build UI on MCP. We're so grateful to just see how much the community has grown. Yeah, it's wonderful, wonderful. So Fractal is solving one of the biggest problems that I think right now when it comes to MCP development, and that is to think in conversation. So I know that, we talk about like how all these official apps are not as good as the good apps. And I think the big difference between a good app and the official app is that the good apps, the people who develop it knows how to think in conversations. I also see that most of the people who are building MCP apps right now are very, very experienced web developer. But ChatGPT is not a browser. It's a conversation platform. So how can you turn, this conversation and create an experience, a UI experience inside of the conversation? And that is something we think a lot about. So the way we solve it is that, this is like a prompt that I'm going to demo today. It is different from any kind of app that you build because instead of focusing on, hey, you build me an app like this prompt, we take two kind of prompts. The prompt that just say, hey, I want to create a ChatGPT app like this. Or you can say, hey, I want to create a ChatGPT app that do this, but I also want to create this experience in the conversation. You can add the context about how the app appear in the conversation. And then we create not only the most amazing UI for your app, but we also create the most amazing metadata to make sure that when, the conversation comes and you want the app to appear, that it get called in the best way possible and it fits perfectly in the conversation. So these app come from a real problem that I have. I've been making a lot of videos teaching people how to build ChatGPT apps on Fractal. And I know like some of you probably have seen the video that I made. I usually ask ChatGPT to create the narration for me. And then after that, I ask ChatGPT to create the title and description for me. And then after that, I want ChatGPT to create the YouTube cover photo for me. But I absolutely hate the ChatGPT model generations. I love Gemini Nano Banana Pro. And I was like, you know what? This is a great way to use, an MCP or a ChatGPT apps. So I create this prompt, and I'm going to demo this prompt using Fractal for you. So this is Fractal. It looks like, a typical vibe coding platform that you see. I have here a prompt that say, hey, create an app using Nano Banana Pro for me. And I give it a link to the API. You don't have to give it a link to the API. The agent can also search for the API for you. But for me, like, I don't want it to mess up, so I always specify the API that I want to use. And I also added a context about how and where I want the app to appear so that it can create a great metadata for me. And now I just get to start building. So first, Fractal is going to have a planning agent for you. It's going to read the documentations and it's going to recommend how you should structure your app. This is really amazing for me because For someone like who is non-technical, it's really hard to think about, hey, if I want to use an app in this situation, what kind of tool do I need to create? What kind of parameter that I need to go in the tool? What kind of metadata to translate the prompt into the parameter in the tool? We solve all of that for you. You don't have to think about that at all with Fractal. All you need to do is to think about, hey, how the app fit in the conversation and what result that you want to see out of the app. So here Fractal already read the documentation, and now it's going to propose a plan for me. It does take a few minutes for it to propose the plan. Okay, great. Okay, so it finished proposing the plan for me. And over here, you can see, it realized that, Gemini needs an API key, so I have to enter an API key for it to work. And also it create like what tools that I need to build, what the parameter would go into the tool, what the output of the tool is going to be like, what will it look like. And then it also like show me how to use the app as well. Like this app would work with this kind of direct prompt, this kind of indirect prompt, and this kind of negative prompt. These strictly follow ChatGPT recommendations on how to build best ChatGPT apps. We just kind of get inspired from the guideline. So I'm going to enter the Nano Banana API key here, and hopefully it's going to build for me. Okay. So now we create a sandbox for you. And this sandbox has the full power of a full environment. You can install any packages that you want. And then you can preview what the app look like on both mobile and desktop. It does take about 15 minutes to build. So in the meantime, I do have a few slides that I want to show you guys about what kind of apps we should build on this platform. So I'm curious. I don't know if someone can like give me a vote about like, do you want to see some new slides about what kind of apps we can build, or do you want to see like how the agent looks like? Because I can talk while we watch the agent doing its job, or I can move on to my other slide. What do you guys think?
I think we go watch the, let's go through the slides while this builds, and we'll see
Okay.
how it looks when we get back.
Okay, perfect. So I've been thinking a lot about what kind of apps should I build, because like building these apps are so easy now. You will see like this kind of prompt is Fractal can one shot it. So the problem, and with AMPIC and all these tools coming out, the problem isn't how to build, because I feel like how to build is very easy. It's what to build. So I have a few slides about like all the different patterns I see that would make a great ChatGPT apps. So one of the ideas that I have are apps that use the conversation context. So an example that I have is an Instacart app. I really love Instacart app because I usually go to ChatGPT to ask for a recipe and meal plan for the entire week, so I can go grocery for the entire week. And it's so nice to just follow up with Instacart and say, hey, Instacart, like add all these ingredients to my cart for me. It is so magical because it removes the frictions of me like looking up every single product and then add that into ChatGPT, into Instacart app. And that get me to think about all the different kind of app that would fit into these categories. For example, like you can turn like, the conversation into kind of all the different kind of files, like generating reports, generating invoices, generating slides. You can also like not turning it into files, but you can also like display it in a really fun way, like graph, charts, tables. Or, from the context that you chat with ChatGPT, you can take some actions. Like, if you do a travel plan, then say, hey, book my hotel for me, book my flight for me, schedule my babysitting for me, schedule my dog sitting for me. or like shop for this item for me. So I think a rule of thumb for inspiration for me has been, hey, if I have to copy some text out of ChatGPT, that can be an app that lives inside ChatGPT, and it would save me the time of copying text out of ChatGPT. And then the next kind of app that I thought would be very cool is apps that use ChatGPT inference. Some of these apps are like, so I just recently made a trivia game. I can show it to you guys if we still have time. But these trivia games use ChatGPT as a way to generate questions. And I can play like super random like trivia game, like give me trivia about Pokemon. This is not something that, regular trivia game would have. So the inspirations for these kind of apps are apps that, you can use ChatGPT to generate content. You can use ChatGPT to be a judge for like your app. You can use app with like ChatGPT as a personality or commentary. There's like so much opportunity for fun things to be built here. And my rule of thumb for inspiration for this kind of app is that if I ever have to call ChatGPT inside my app, I can think in the reverse and figure out, like maybe it can be an app inside of chat instead of chat inside an app. And the third kind of app that I think a lot about is that we use ChatGPT distribution, taking advantage of huge ChatGPT users. So ChatGPT already have 900 million users. It is crazy because when the App Store came out, it only had 6 million iPhones. The scale is massive. So if you already have a product that people really loved, like, I think you mentioned this in one of the very, very popular mainstream app, is that they purposely hide like the most useful features so that, you can like lead it back to your main app. So yeah, so those are some of the ideas that I have for apps. If you want to build apps, you can get inspired. Yeah, I'm gonna go back to the agent now. It is still working. You can see it's set to give me a preview now. So we're very thorough with our agent. It's gonna run a bunch of tests to make sure that the app absolutely works. Like maybe it doesn't work as intended as you want, but it will absolutely run. Oh wow, okay, it's making progress. So you can see how it works on mobile, you can see how it works on desktop. You can see that it made a mistake here. This button is black text on black text, so that's not good. And then, like I can see where it messed up by looking at the code. We do expose the code here so you can see what is going on. When I use coding agent now, I never really code anymore, but I do read the code so I understand what to prompt. Oh, here you go. This is what it looks like. But I'm going to fix the button. Black text on white. So I'm going to fix that, and then we're going to deploy it, and then you get to see it in action.
Han, while you're waiting for this, so this while you're waiting to kind of finish this last improvement, I'm very curious because it feels like so many vibe coding apps are built for developers. Obviously, they're built for people who have ideas and they want to turn them into apps, and most of them are people who naturally think of developing. Is your audience, are you targeting people who are not developers? You think that people who don't typically build apps might be able to build ChatGPT apps given the vibe coding capabilities of your product?
Yes, that's my goal right now. I feel like I personally build a lot of tools for me to use. So we definitely want to target toward people that are not developers. I don't think that we're quite there yet. I think that right now, the stage of the product is that you do have to have some coding background. You need to know what an API is. And like you definitely do not write a single line of code ever, but understanding how like the software works really helps. But we actually having our next version that you can absolutely like need zero coding skill, and I'm very excited about that new updates that we're going to have. But right now, I think it would work best if you're like a web developer, but you have a problem thinking in tools, thinking in conversations, then this would be a great tool for you.
It's fascinating, so, it's like Silicon Valley, started with making chips, and you have all this kind of hardcore low level technology. And then there was the whole mobile trend and whatnot. And like, all the people in San Francisco felt like it's like, it was a kind of different type of developer, like hipsters and whatnot. There was like, oh, they're not doing low level tech. They're just like web designers who can make a mobile app or whatever. And it's like now with these ChatGPT apps, it's like, it's kind of going in that, to me, I feel like it's kind of like, it's becoming less and less about the technology and more about the business or the idea, or, so it's like, it's just low. I think it's going to lower the barrier even more for, because there's even less things you have to do, but like, do you have?
Aren't we already there, Darren? It feels like with Replit and all these things, like, I mean, I talk to people pretty regularly that are not developers and couldn't write a line of code that have now built something. I'm one of them. I'm not a developer.
But you can't ship an application to a large audience. That's what I mean. So the thing is like what we have right now. So Replit and those things do really good for kind of like, oh, I built an app for myself, or I built it for my team or whatever. But in terms of like kind of like opportunity, like business opportunity or big impact or whatever, is like, because what I think, like, because we have a largely technical audience of this and a lot of startups and stuff like that, is like, this whole idea is like, I think all the incumbents who are like, oh, I'm going to take my app and I'm going to put it in ChatGPT, they're really going to suffer. It's like counterintuitive because if it's like, when do I bring it back to the web page? When do I get it to the mobile? As opposed to somebody here in a chat native application is like, it's so much less user, the amount of like UX you have to build, because like when you think about like a traditional app, so much of what you're offering is the interface on top of data and services, whereas chat kind of gives you most of the interface already. So it really boils down to like, what's the true value that you're giving? So it's like, if you can come up with a good idea or a good value, the interface is there. You can vibe code these apps super fast. They're really easy. That I just, I think we're boiling it down to like the core of what's really valuable to us.
It's funny because I mean, you imagine this generation of kids like my son Grant, who's 11, and his, like his first thing I started was kind of telling him about this. He's like, is there something like this where I can build a Roblox game? And I was like, not yet, but I guarantee you in the next 2 years, you'll be able to kind of just explain the Roblox game you want, and you'll be able to test it and try it and experience.
Oh, yeah.
I'm like, it may not even be Roblox. Maybe the next platform is more that. It's like Roblox gets replaced with something that is even more AI forward, and that universe gets built more by the participants. And anybody can describe a new place, a new game, a new room, a new battle thing, whatever, and it'll come alive.
Yeah, I mean, I think games is a whole different realm. Like that's slightly different, kind of like than these chat apps or whatever, because it's like, but there is huge, like the generative 3D stuff makes total sense. That like, the old text based, you've entered this room and it looks like that. Like that's how you basically kind of program things. It's like, oh, describe it. But anyways, getting back to the chat, it's like I think this is, I don't know. I just think the opportunity here is massive, but I don't think anyone. I really, really want to see more people starting with chat native, like just, try to disrupt some industry or something of just start with chat. Like it's going to be amazing, because why not? Like, why wouldn't I just like buy my insurance through, chat or whatever? It's, I don't know.
100%. I 100% agree. I feel like that's what we try to solve. Is not, hey, you can preview or you can deploy, because, I feel like people can stitch them together. If you're a great web dev, you can do that. The problem right now with all the web dev that's trying to build ChatGPT apps right now is that they can't think in conversation.
Yeah.
And all this app is like, the interface is amazing, but like when you try to like call it, it just doesn't work.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you have to really boil it down to like what exactly you're trying to offer someone. But the thing is, it's like you have this massive kind of captive audience or whatever. You have all these people on ChatGPT. What would make sense for them? Because it took us a while for the mobile apps of like, what the app, because Shannon and I were just talking before this of like, remember Facebook before mobile? It was like games, and it was like, oh, we're going to be this app platform, and people, and then once mobile took over, Facebook had to completely change, and then and then Instagram.
They thought they were the app platform. You remember? I mean, there was a moment where they were thinking like, because every time we shift the platform, we think the next platform is going to be an app platform. Facebook wasn't, right? Facebook didn't come. There was never good search apps, right? There were all sorts of like browser app, like browser plugin companies that thought those didn't materialize. Like I do think each time there is a key question that like in this new ecosystem, the apps have to add value by themselves beyond what the platform itself adds. Like just being the same app in the platform doesn't add a lot of value. And so you might be right. Maybe it is, you need your insurance agent to be a chat thing. We'll see. I at the same time, a lot of the most successful apps on your phone are things that existed before the phone did, right? Facebook is a good example. Facebook kind of jumped over and became one of the most successful phone apps.
You can say
Amazon existed. It's one of the most successful phone apps. So some things are going to make the jump and other things are going to get disrupted. And it'll be interesting to see or this won't quite materialize like that. This one might not play out exactly the same way.
Yeah, you can make the argument of some of the things because it's like Instagram, I think, is more mobile native. So it's like Instagram is a much, I think Facebook is still probably more users or whatever, but Instagram is much more like transformative and social media and stuff.
That's for sure.
Yeah, but like, I mean, we'll definitely see it's just a whole new paradigm, and I think
don't say definitely. Han,
Yeah.
So you deployed this. This is live. What's the next
I
step?
just deployed it. So as you see how easy it is to deploy, just click the deploy button. It takes about 30 seconds to a minute to deploy. And now I have an MCP. So do you guys want to see if it works?
Sure.
It's a surprise to me. I have not tested it before. It's brand new. It's brand new build. So I'm going to add the MCP. Oh wow! It changed the UI. Oh
wow.
Yeah. It's now live.
Same button.
They like. I mean, I'm amazed how often ChatGPT changes. It's hard to keep up with their new app.
Okay, so I'm adding the MCP in dev mode right now. Oh shit! I already have. I made this before. Okay, it is added, and usually I would, I would add it to the end of my conversations, but now I think I can just say, make me a YouTube cover for a video with the title MCP App Summit. Okay, let's see.
As far as I know, when you say at whatever, it's kind of just a shortcut for basically clicking add and putting it into the, like, effectively does the same thing.
Nice.
Oh yeah.
Genuine, yeah.
Yeah, and you can see like this is the tool description that we created. When you plan, I don't know if you remember in the beginning when we plan. This is like image gen, so it's gonna take a nano banana. It's gonna take a bit of time, but in the meantime, we can inspect the tool calls. So we write really, really good metadata. I've tested all the metadata of the apps that are currently on the App Store, or at least like the launch partners. They have terrible tool description, and that's why the app doesn't run really well. And we automatically make really, really good tool descriptions so that based on the scenario that you described in the beginning of how you want your app to fit in the chat, it will guarantee that it will fit in the chat. And I think this is like what really makes us stand out and helps people to think in conversation.
This is like my current pet peeve with people writing prompts is like, stop writing prompts yourself. Ask AI to write prompts.
They write so much better. Yeah.
Ask AI, because think of the idea of like when you talk to someone and you want them, like if you tell somebody something and then you say, can you repeat that back to me? They'll say it back to you in their voice and the way they understand it. And then so you can see if they understand it, and then it's structured in that way. So it makes much more sense with AI, because this is where engineers always go wrong. Stop trying to like just ask AI to like, what would you say? And it would be much better than if you just write the prompt yourself.
100%. And also, we also take into OpenAI best practices and also our experience building agents, because I feel like this is where we are at an advantage. We've been building lots of agents, so we know what works for tool calling. And we also distill that kind of experience into what we built as well. As you can see, it works, you know. I have a thumbnail for my video. So if you guys want to make, you know, thumbnail for like this video that we're having, you can use my app. I actually want to make a version of my app with my face in it as well. Like, you know, like you see like a lot of the YouTube cover photo that have like people in it using Nano Banana. That's my next iteration. But yeah, this is the demo. I don't know if you guys have any question for me.
This was great. It's really interesting. Han, it's obviously still pretty early in the space. Your product is out. Is it available? Like, how are people ready? Can they sign up? Can they get an account? What does it cost to use it? How do I try your app out?
Yes, so it's in beta release right now. You do have to enter a special code to be able to get in, and I can share that with you guys. Maybe when we post it on YouTube, we can put that in the comment, and then people can, can use that code to get in.
All right, we'll keep the secret code for the YouTube comment. How about that? All right, Han, thank you so much for joining us today. This was a lot of fun, and really appreciate the work you're doing. It just seems super exciting.
Thank you so much for having me.
All right.